My name is Lana. I am a registered physiotherapist as well as owner of Oscar's Place. We are doing a ton of baseline concussion testing here as well as post-concussion management. The two go really well hand in hand, as the baseline concussion test can give us a lot of information as far as some of the goals we should consider for post-concussion management. We wanted to create a video in order to share some of the components of our post-concussion management program. The management program is based on an individualized physiotherapy assessment, so some of the components may vary based on the needs of the child, but we did want to share sort of a basic overview of some of the things we consider during the assessment and then how we address those as far as sort of a treatment or a management option. So here we go.
We will often use a laser headlamp as a feedback tool during post-concussion physiotherapy assessments. We will also use it as a training tool during our post-concussion therapy sessions. A headlamp is a really useful tool as it helps to promote cervical kinesthetic awareness. In other words, it helps to provide information as far as where the head and neck are in space. So here on this picture, you will see the child has the headlamp on and they are closing their eyes, turning their head to one direction, and then trying to re-find that center focus point within the target. Another important piece to post-concussion management is working on coordination. This is a great exercise because it not only works on coordination, but also incorporates a cognitive and an attention piece to the exercise as well. So the exercise I'm referring to is called BDPQ, where the stick of the letter symbolizes the trunk and the loop indicates a limb. So for example, a B would indicate the lower right limb. These letters are randomly placed on a piece of paper, and the child will move their limb according to the letter that they see. We can make it more difficult by making the letter smaller, by changing the color of the font, and likewise we can make it easier by making the letters bigger. Often following a concussion, a person will complain symptoms associated with physical activity. So during the post-concussion program, it's very important that we consider any change in aerobic capacity following the concussion. So one of the things we will use is an RPE scale designed for children, and RPE stands for Rating of Perceived Exertion. This one has numbers 1 through 10, and each number is associated with a picture, so the child can match the intensity of what they're feeling during the exercise with either a picture or a number, whatever is easier for them. Another scale that we will use is this Wong-Baker scale that helps to indicate a child's experience of pain. So the scale again is 0 through 10, and each number is also associated with a picture. So if the child is on the treadmill, we would stop the test if there is any increase in particularly headache, but any of their concussion symptoms. And this scale can be very helpful for a child to communicate those feelings to us. Another great way for us to challenge a child's cognition and also their visual processing. On a piece of paper, we will have a series of color words written. So for example, pink, brown, blue, black. The trick is each color word is going to be in a different font color. So pink may be a blue color, brown may be a pink color, and so on. So the first challenge is that the child just has to read the word as it is written on the page, and then we can make the exercise more difficult by having the child say the color of the font instead of reading the Following a concussion, it is very common that a child will complain of a reduced sense of stability. So working on improving their balance is a really important piece to post-concussion management. Here we will work on static balance, which is the child's ability to maintain a posture for a prolonged period of time. To increase the challenge, we can reduce the child's base of support. So going from feet together to a tandem stance and standing on one leg makes the exercise progressively more challenging. We can also add a further challenge by asking the child to close their eyes or having them stand on a compliant surface, such as a foam pad, a Bosu ball, or a rocker board. As the child's static balance improves, we will add a dynamic component to their balance program. So here the child is walking along a balance beam, and to make this exercise more challenging, the child is asked to bend their knees and place a ring on a pylon. Some children find it difficult to perform exercises that require them to cross the midline of their body. Here, this child is performing an exercise that we call the dishwasher exercise, and it mimics the task required to unload the dishwasher. So she's reaching down to the box to point out an item on the page and then reaching up to find the matching picture on the wall. A deck of cards is a really great simple tool that we use often at the clinic. Here, the child is performing a sorting game using a deck of cards. This requires memory and attention to correctly perform the task. Spatial awareness can often be affected following a concussion. Puzzles are a great way that we can work on improving a child's spatial awareness and also pattern recognition. So this child is using one of our favorite games, which is a puzzle matching game where she has to create the pattern that is shown on the card with the corresponding pieces. A child's reaction time is often affected following a concussion, and our trampoline rebounder is a really fun way that we can challenge it at the clinic. We are able to modify this exercise in so many ways by changing the child's foot position from a wider base of support to a more narrow base of support. We can also modify the surface by having the child stand on a foam pad or our Bosu ball.
If your child does suffer a concussion and ends up at Oscar's Place for post-concussion management, we will do an individualized assessment, and then based on that assessment, create a treatment or a management plan that may consider all of those categories that we just discussed, or they may only need help in a couple of those areas. And again, all of that will be based on an individualized assessment. So please reach out to Oscar's Place if you have any questions as far as our baseline testing program or our post-concussion management program. We are here to help. Stay safe.